Another fantastic summer sunny day here in the Philippines and another rewind video. Yep, another blast from the past. This was a video that was doing pretty well on YouTube until somebody claimed the non-copyrighted music as copyrighted. And then YouTube demonetized it and then it just tanked. This is one of the most fantastic day trips that you could possibly take out of Manila, especially if you're a history buff. Let me tell you about Corregidor Island.
This is one of the first day trips I ever took in the Philippines.
Made it, getting on the boat.
The old vids sure were a little shaky.
Hey, it's Eric.
And this is
And today we are off to Corregidor. I'll try, I'll get it eventually, one of these days. Until then, would you say that again for?
Corregidor.
All right, we're going there.
The skyline view leaving Manila Bay is phenomenal. You get a sense of how absolutely huge the metro really is.
Welcome to Corregidor.
Late April 1942, Corregidor in Manila Bay was the last outpost to resist the Japanese invaders of Luzon. For almost a month, the Japanese bombarded the island fortress with every weapon at their command.
Re-editing old video is an incredible challenge. I think the hardest part for me was just seeing how fat and out of shape I was. Looking back, you realize you didn't know how to use your tools. You didn't expose the shots correctly. You couldn't even hold the camera steady. Granted, the equipment you're using isn't as sophisticated as the equipment you use today, but you also realize you just did not know how to cut. These are the remains of the barracks here on Corregidor Island. All of this infrastructure was built by Americans for the war effort. And you realize how much you've changed as a filmmaker over the years. You start to understand that the reasons why you made the videos before aren't the same reasons you're making videos now. The stories that you wanted to tell before were more like memories or memoirs, more like a photo album than a feature that you would share with other people.
General Hama, the Beast of Bataan, soon set out to visit the scene of the epic battle for the island fortress. After a difficult campaign which had lasted 5 months, the invaders had finally succeeded in overpowering the remnants of the American Luzon force. The final battle had been one of the most bitterly fought defenses in history. The victorious Japanese inspected the area with interest. The valiant stand made by the U.S. 4th Marine Regiment, with a mixture of soldiers, sailors, and Filipinos attached, will never be forgotten by the Japanese who participated in the battle for Corregidor. The victors were especially curious about the weapons which had caused them so much trouble.
You don't get to see the amazing disappearing trebuchet guns on the walking tour, but you'll see them in the next video. My first visit to Corregidor during 2012 in the rainy season was a very forlorn and haunting experience. There was a profound sense of history here. It was just the two of us on the tour that day, and it made it even more of a personal and meaningful experience. The guide wasn't in a hurry, and he answered all of our questions and just let me take as much time as I wanted to explore this amazing relic of history. The gun batteries here were just mind-blowing. There's another gun battery site near this on the island that had been completely annihilated when a bomb hit the magazine. As you can see from the archival footage, it's almost as if nothing has changed since the end of the war. As incredibly lush and green and tropical as Corregidor appears to be today, at the end of the war, it was barren. The place had been burned and bombed into nothing but dirt and rock. These guns could fire a 1,000-pound shell into the mouth of Manila Bay. That's why they called Corregidor the key to the Pacific War.
Look at the recoil springs on that bad boy. Look at that, a monkey. That's a bomb crater. That's a friggin' yikes. Bullet holes.
This building that bordered the battery held the magazine as well as a communications outpost. Oh, my first girlfriend. What an absolute angel. Through her, I fell in love with the Philippines.
Someone wanted to snare bad. Big ass bullet hole. Shot it.
How about the shell, sir? You want to take the photo also?
Yeah.
Shell.
This was the communications. So I'm walking through the jungle to see the hospital. I'm actually on the walking tour, which most folks don't do. Yeah.
Coming up out of the jungle, which was just a short trek from the gun batteries, you see the Army Post Hospital, the 1,000-bed hospital. There was an otherworldly, ghostly feel to this area of the island.
Right side is their mess hall, dining area.
Wow.
Before.
Steps up. You guys don't go up, right?
Sure.
Do you go up?
Yes, sir.
Back then, it was just point the cameras at everything you can, and you can see me walking with two cameras here, right? The GoPro and the Flip. Remember those old Flip cameras? They were terrible. That's why a lot of this video is just so shaky. A really profound sense of history from walking amongst the ruins here.
All the bars came from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. All the way to the Philippines. 1,000 patients. Did they build it for the war?
No. Tape, taping control. 1930s, 1912. You can see. Those are the bullet holes from the Japanese plane. As I had said earlier, even though there's a little sign on top of this building, still the Japanese bombed this hospital.
Yeah. My boys from Japan bombed the hospital. Go figure.
I had forgotten how I used to incorporate photography more into the videos I produced.
Filled with bullet holes. Imagine that.
Yeah.
What kind?
Bullet holes.
All over the place. This small arms fire or from planes?
From plane, sir. So that 50 caliber.
They just strafe the hospitals?
Yeah. Actually, the Japanese used to bomb they first attacked the island, December 2, after they attacked Pearl Harbor. First island of Malta. This is part of Mediterranean Sea.
Bullet hole from Japanese airplane strafing hospital.
Those hospitals had giant red crosses painted on the roof.
We're now going to the biggest and longest barracks around the world before the
Cool.
war. They call it Mile Long Barracks.
Oh, shit.
Actually, the American built their buildings on this island from 1902 to 1922.
Really?
Yeah, they built 687 buildings all in all. That's how they love this island. They spent 150 million US dollars during the time.
They must not have loved it that much, considering what they've spent recently on Ukraine.
Ano yon? I'm in a jungle, dog. Largest barracks in the world.
So it can accommodate 8,000 American soldiers before, sir.
8,000.
8,000. And this one in front, this is their swimming pool.
Oh, cool.
They didn't use this as their to swim only. They use this as to dive. Learn how to dive.
Learn how to dive. That's what
Yeah.
deep on the end.
You'll never forget your first Filipino sweetheart. Man, did I think she was the love of my life. Sometimes I think if I hadn't fallen for her, I wouldn't have fallen for the Philippines.
Corregidor Island, also known as the Rock.
A population of 17 million. 17 million people who trusted our friendship, fellow Americans. We promised them their independence for July 4th, 1946. We've pledged ourselves to go in and see that they get it on that date, or even sooner.
MacArthur's words.
We're gonna take some shots today. We call this tree Valencia.
Malaysia.
We call Valencia because balete or banyan tree being eaten with.
That's two trees. One's like overtaking the other.
And the statue of the Filipino-American. We call it Brothers in Arms or
Oh, look at that.
Filipino-American Friendship Park.
So this is where it's all at, right here.
Yeah, the American helps wounded Filipinos.
That's a beautiful thing. You know, you grow up in the United States of America and you learn all about Pearl Harbor and you learn all about Hitler and Mein Kampf, and you don't learn a damn thing about what the Filipinos and the Philippines meant to America. You come here to the Philippines and you see our brothers in arms, the memorial of the American soldier helping the Filipino soldiers. There's so much history here. There's so much American history wrapped up in what happens here. When I come to the Philippines, sometimes I feel like I'm just, I don't know, coming to America. It's weird.
Just one word more. It's a word that covers a lot of ground. It covers 48 states. It covers 7,000 islands. The word is American. The Filipinos are American. Treat them like Americans. And Joe, don't for one day, 1 hour, 1 minute, ever forget that last message sent by a GI who saw his starved comrades, Americans and Filipinos, dying around him at Corregidor.
There's reasons why they don't teach Filipino-American history in school. Notice how many stars are on the flag? Yeah, that's an old one. Along with the Pacific War Memorial, there is the Pacific War Museum here on Corregidor Island. The first time I visited this museum, it was completely empty. We were the only people in it, and that gave it a completely different feel than the second time I visited the museum on what I call the tram tour, where it's like a bus that takes you around to different parts of the island that you won't see here on the walking tour. The walking tour just felt more primal, more connected, as if you were a soldier walking through the jungles on Corregidor Island. This place is like a time capsule.
M1 Garand rifle. Look at that bad boy. 45 caliber. Asian pistol. It's a 45. It's a Colt 45. Call those bad boys ACP. Lucky Lightning Twin-Tailed Devil P38. I know you. I remember you. You built models of you. Dude. Crazy.
I'm not one to say that I love my government, but I sure do love my country. I did get a profound sense of what it means to be an American here. This was the Pacific War Memorial. The guide was telling me that certain times a year, twice a year, this hole in the ceiling sends the sunlight directly down on the memorial itself. The entire rotunda was built to resemble a soldier's helmet. There is a very serene, peaceful, and echoing vibe in this rotunda. Just a totally isolated feel. But again, I think it had something to do with the fact that we were the only people on the tour. When this place is crowded, it's a different vibe. The inscription beneath the sculpture reads, "To live in freedom's light is the right of mankind." So I have to ask myself, what the hell happened to the US? Because freedom of speech is under attack. The old Spanish lighthouse, originally built in 1835 and renovated again in 1903. The lighthouse did not survive the bombardment during the war, and around 1950, the lighthouse was rebuilt using some of the original stones from the ruins. The lantern was replaced in the 90s with a solar-powered light. Part of what made this experience so solemn, forlorn, and majestic was just being alone. Being the only people on the tour totally gave the island this deserted, historic, time capsule, like step into yesterday kind of vibe.
I'll tell you, it's pouring out there. Spanish lighthouse. Wow. Windy as hell up here.
The Navy Beach isn't really part of the tour, but we opted to skip out of the Malinta Tunnel and head down to the beach instead. You can see the Malinta Tunnel in my next Corregidor visit when I did the bus tour.
That's a black sand beach. It's a crying shame there's so much little plastic trash washed up on this beach, because it is an amazingly beautiful black sand beach. Yeah, that's black sand. That's not trash. I thought I mentioned it's rainy season.
Hey, how y'all doing? Yeah, I know. Figured I'll stop by and see what all this Filipino stuff's about. Well, look, can't stay long, you know. After all, it's 1994. I'm a busy man. I'm the president of the United States of America.
Yeah, the Philippines are one hell of a big place. It's a good idea for you to know something about this country and the people that live in it. The kind of people that want their children to grow up, as our kids will grow up, in a world without fascist dictators.
Well, the US kind of blew that.
Yeah, we're coming back. To those 7,000 islands. To those 17 million Americans.
This isn't just another movie. Take it from me. They love freedom. They'll die for it. They have died for it. Don't throw your money around. Don't get out of line either.
Yeah, it's another way of saying that when you're in the Philippines, you really need to be on your best behavior. You're a representative of your country. Respecting the culture is one of the ways you can pay it forward here.